Hi, this is Catherine Dubberly, the Answer Lady. I'm working on some painted knitwear. The advantages of painting on our knitwear are enormous. There is no limit to the size or number of colors that the design can use, and the knit continues to stretch every bit as much as the original stockinette did. Plus, the knitting itself is a piece of cake. We apply the design afterwards. But instead of listening to me go on and on, why don't you watch me work on the first project? This one involves Krylon spray paint and Sharpie marker. I'm going to spray each of the stencils that I plan to use with this Easy Tack, which is supposed to make it adhere to the fabric without sticking permanently and be possible to move around. Let's see how it works. I've shaken it thoroughly. Light coating. It comes out pretty fast, I notice. This stencil's been used before, that's what the red is. And here are some leaves. Now I'm going to set this aside to dry. Now I have several stencils laid out, but I'm going to spray into one at a time to be cautious. So I'm going to cover anything that I don't want to receive the color right now, including the parts of the stencil that are to be green, the leaves, or anything other than red. So I'm going to use my assortment of pieces of plastic scraps to mask everything that I think might get in the way of the spray. And then I will be ready. That should do it, and we'll spray this one first as soon as I have shaken up my paint really well. Alright, I'm ready to spray. I've got it shaken. Let's see how it does. That's it for that rose. Now I have to move all my masking and do another. Here we can do another rose. And one more. I discovered something kind of useful. I can use the Easy Tack on my masking material too, and that holds it to the sweater better. Now comes the hard part for me. I know I need to wait till this is really dry so as not to make a mess as I move the stencils to my new spot. Now I'm going to work on some leaves with a Sharpie permanent marker, filling in where the stencil allows it. And if these don't get as much color as I would like, I can always recoat them once the stencil has been moved, rather than risking nudging the stencil with too vigorous of action now. But I'll know where I want it. You don't have to use everything. This stem extends farther than I want it to. So I'm just going to put a little bit of the stem in. And I've replaced the stencil more or less where it was. It's not important that the leaves be positioned exactly as they are on the stencil, at least it's not to me. So I'm just putting them in where I want them. Let's remove this and see what it looks like. I think I want a little more color here. I'm not sure if you can see as well as I can whether the stitches are getting saturated with the green ink. But that's what I'm aiming for. Look here, I accidentally got some red paint where I didn't want it. I wasn't careful enough with my masking. but you can easily fix it. I'm just going to put a rose there, and I might skip these green leaves. I'm not sure yet. I'll decide when I've seen it. And so now the red that wasn't supposed to be there will be covered with red that is supposed to be there. I've also gotten much better about masking ever since I discovered how to really use these bags. I've got 8 of them with the tacky, what is it called, Easy Tack, along a folded edge, so that I can alternate the ones that I'm using with the ones that have been used and are damp. And they do a beautiful job of masking. See, I've already got rose there, so I want to mask. And the ones that are waiting to be used, since I've got 8 of them going, they just sit aside and dry, so I don't accidentally smear paint where I don't want it. Here we go, boo-boo fixed. I see a pale spot, so I'm going to give it another squirt. And voila! Now all I have to do is wait for the paint to be thoroughly dry and assemble the sweater, and then probably wash it again. The sweater came out great. The design has been washed twice at this point, and it looks absolutely fine. And I have worked on my swatch, washing it several times, and it looks exactly as it did when I completed it. I'm really pleased with this process.